You ever have those moments on the highway where some dormant vestigial monkey lobe in your brain activates and you suddenly realize that you're going 80 miles an hour in a metal box on wheels? I seem to be having a lot of moments like that recently, which might explain why I spent about 4 hours on the internet yesterday learning about road markings, the only thing outside of basic impulse control which keeps our monkey mobiles from crashing into one another. Here in the US, we have somewhere around 11 types of road lines. I'm intentionally using ambiguous language here because these lines come in so many different variants that it can be difficult to know where to, and pardon my French here, draw the line between types. Road surface markings fall into two general classifications, mechanical and non-mechanical. Mechanical road markings are either raised from or recessed into the road surface, with the intention being for you to feel them while driving if you for some reason don't see them first. Things like reflective markers, Bot's dots, cat's eyes, and rumble strips are common examples. Non-mechanical road markings are mostly flush with the road surface, often being painted on top, though they sometimes have raised or recessed features as well. These can be made of actual paint, thermoplastic, polymer tape, or epoxy, and are sometimes embedded with glass beads or other reflective elements. Most road markings you'll see driving around are a combination of both mechanical and non-mechanical features to increase visibility, safety, and road maintenance budgets. In the US, white lines are used to divide lanes of traffic which are headed in the same direction. One of the most common line types you'll see is the creatively named single solid white line, which is the first line to have been added to a US road back in 1911, when a man by the name of Edward N. Hines, the chairman for the Wayne County, Michigan Road Commission, was supposedly inspired after seeing a leaking milk wagon leave a white trail on the road behind it. Solid lines such as this one should not be crossed over, though in this case it's more of a discouragement than a hard rule. The single broken white line is used to divide two or more lanes of traffic headed in the same direction, allowing for lane changes between them. There are also variants of the single broken white line which are used in turn-only lanes, where the line has shorter and closer together paint strips, letting a driver know to decrease speed. I've also seen variants of these with a lane for bicycles in the middle, which increases road safety significantly as cars no longer have to leave their lane in order to hit cyclists. Double solid white lines are not allowed to be crossed over and are often used to separate carpool lanes from the rest of traffic. Since my city doesn't have a carpool lane, I was unable to get footage of one of these, but I'm sure if you try really hard you can imagine what they look like. Yellow lines are used to divide traffic flows which are headed in opposite directions and were invented by the same Edward N. Hines as before, after he witnessed a leaky pea wagon. This is a single solid yellow line, which does not advise passing, but allows for it so long as you take, quote, extreme caution. A single broken yellow line, however, allows for any degree of caution when passing, I guess. A combination of the two allows for passing in one direction only, the side with the broken line. These combination lines are also used to create center turning lanes on larger and higher traffic roads where it's fine to cross over them in either direction. A double solid yellow line, similar to its white counterpart, does not allow for any passing, though unlike white lines in some large cities you might see a double broken yellow line. These denote the presence of a reverse lane, a lane that when managed well switches directions based on traffic needs, and when managed poorly sends you straight to hell. Another thing to note is that the outermost lines on a road, if they're present, are used for both safety and to help people identify one-way in divided roads. The outermost line will always be a solid white line, but if you see a solid yellow line to your left, then you know that you're on a divided road. There are also lines that run perpendicular to traffic, such as crosswalks, stopping lines, or yield lines. I wish I had been able to get some footage of a yield line, but they're really only a roundabout feature, and unbelievably my city has no roundabouts. In addition to this, it's not uncommon to see lines extend into intersections, both broken and unbroken varieties, which helps to keep traffic ordered when two or more lanes are turning. Though I've mostly shown off flat lines up until this point in the video, road surface markings can also be made of Bot's dots, a series of small raised dots which discourage crossing, as well as temporary overlay markers which are supposed to be used only during construction or road resurfacing, but I've seen a few roads adopt these as permanent features. There are also occasional symbols which appear on the road surface, such as turn signs, yield signs, speed hump warnings, railroad crossings, carpool lanes, bicycle on street signs, etc. A general rule is that in the US, if we can put something on a sign, we can also put it on the road. So, with all the new knowledge that I've forcefully shoved into your brain hole today, let's see if we can identify some lines and how they're used in both intersections and roads. This intersection, if you can call it that, is a bit of an odd one. As you can see, not only our lane, but our entire flow of traffic comes to a stop here at this sign, with a perpendicular white line to denote where specifically we should come to a stop. Though it's not stated, it's pretty clear that we have to yield to oncoming traffic here, unless you want to get in a head-on collision, and we only have the option to turn left. This intersection here has two left turning lanes, with an intersection broken white line to divide them. Note how if this wasn't here, it would be much more difficult for both sets of cars to determine how to make this turn without hitting one another. The final spot I wanted to show off is this highway on-ramp, where you're directed through a semicircle in order to get on the highway. These are super common pretty much anywhere in the world. Take note of the yellow outside line and the white inside line, which lets us know that this is not just a one-way road, but part of a highway entrance and exit. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. Thank you for watching, and remember, do not eat things that you find on the ground unless you really, really want to.